I've got a secret admirer energy coming through, and it feels like this person has just wiggled out of a very yucky cycle in their life, and it's coming through as like, don't mind me, I just need a minute to catch my breath. I'm just gonna watch from afar. You do you. Don't wait for me to like take action and make a move forward, but I have my eye on you. So this is something that this could be somebody who has just come out of like a long-term relationship, or something else that had like happened in their life that sort of turned their life upside down, or maybe even like a bold move that they made to move in an entirely different direction, relocating across the country or to a whole other country, something where this person has like switched careers. They've taken like a big leap of faith forward, and they're just kind of getting settled in to their new life and into their new environment, or trying to find their footing within sort of the reality of that, whatever may now be, new normal for them. And in the midst of all of this, they have caught sight of you. They have noticed you. They find you to be very pleasing, something that is helping them to kind of like get their mind off of maybe like heavy memories or dark thoughts that they could have. It's kind of like, okay, here's something else to focus on for a minute. Here's, somebody that is kind of like a breath of fresh air in the midst of what I have, going on in my life right now. This doesn't feel like somebody that intends to kind of just lurk in the shadows forever, but there's also a sense of kind of being very honest of sort of where they're at in their own life. Like, I need some time to myself. I need some time to, unpack or decompress from like everything I've just been through, everything that I've gone through. It feels like this isn't somebody that's like ready to get back out there and date. And so until they kind of like reach a place of like, okay, I'm okay with where I'm at and myself, or, I'm okay with whatever has kind of like fallen out of my life or whatever I've moved away from, then it's sort of like at that point in time, if you're still available, if they still kind of, get the vibe that like you're around, they don't see you with anyone, then this is somebody that would intend to take that step forward, to make that move forward. So it's somebody as well that may be kind of like, if there is a future between the two of us, then I need this period in time to kind of just, it's coming through as be feral, to kind of be feral for a little while, or wild for a little while, especially if they came out of like a long-term connection. This can be somebody that's just like, not even like they want to sort of keep their options open or like sleep around, but it's just sort of like, I need to just do me for a while. I need to not answer to anyone. I need to not, be tied down. I need to kind of just be out there and sort of let loose, or just kind of be in this experience of having been lifted out of whatever had almost been like a relationship that was like a trap for them. Like they felt very trapped in their last relationship. Things that were good, it's like it quickly went downhill, and they might have stayed in that connection longer than was like healthy, longer than was reasonable. It may have been a very messy breakup. It could have been something where it's kind of like, I don't want to experience that again, or I need some time to kind of just adjust, to kind of just recognize like, what did I just come through, and what do I want to do moving forward. So again, this is kind of just somebody with like a attraction towards you. You've caught their attention, you've caught their eye, and it's not just like, oh, I want to sit here and admire you forever. But this definitely feels like somebody that, if by the time they're ready to take steps forward, if you're dating someone else, or you've moved forward in your life, it doesn't feel like it would be very long, relatively speaking, that they would just be lingering in this kind of secret admirer energy. But it's the sense of that they'd feel kind of like disappointed, that it would have been like, okay, just two ships in the night, guess it wasn't meant to be. But this is somebody, it feels like that this experience right now of you representing kind of this point of beauty in what might be a very sort of like ugly time in their life, or something where they're trying to kind of put the pieces back together for themselves. This is something that is very like refreshing. It's something you offer a lot of like balance and contrast to the nature of whatever else they're focusing on, or whatever else is like going on inside of them emotionally, or maybe this is even somebody that's kind of like going through a messy divorce right now, and so whatever it is that they're dealing with, in that sense, it's kind of like, I'm not in a position to start anything new. I got to see this cycle cycle through to completion. But you've definitely caught my attention as like, oh, when the ink is dry on those papers, if you're still available, I'm headed towards you. I'm coming your way. I'm stepping forward and introducing myself. Yeah, so we've got miracles. So this person is, they're seeing you as somebody that's a little bit further along on their horizon in terms of readiness. But it's something that it's like you've appeared very kind of miraculously to them, like that double rainbow, kind of like, I'm not looking for love. I'm not thinking about romance at this time. I'm trying to process a lot of emotions or just feel what it's like to be sort of in my own energy, on my own again, after having been brave enough to leave a situation that was long expired, long past its expiration date, or even something where they were the one that got dumped and left. And so they are left kind of figuring out, all right, how do I process all of that? What just happened and what do I do from this point moving forward? So in the midst of all of that, there could be some self-shaming going on, as well as something where there's sort of like, acting out as kind of like, okay, I don't have to bottle myself up anymore. I don't have to like live in a tense environment. I don't have to walk on eggshells for somebody that wouldn't even do the same for me if it were in my best interest. Like in the midst of all of that, kind of coming back to themselves, beginning some sort of healing journey, or actively trying to like lick their wounds after what has kind of failed or collapsed romantically or in other areas of their life. Here you appear as something that it's kind of like, okay, so I don't just need to focus on all the negative, on all that's bad, because I've got this awareness of you. And it's almost like it's a guilty pleasure, because there's a sense that this person doesn't like to sit in the energy of being like a voyeur. They don't just want to like sit and watch. This is somebody that is very much, they're bold, they're assertive, they go after what they want. This isn't like a comfortable position for them to sort of just like sit there, like sit on their hands and kind of wait to do something. But it's all they can think to do at this point in time, because there's a sense that wherever they may be at, it's kind of like there's a lot of messiness or a lot of wreckage that they've just come through. And it's like, I can't come to somebody like this. I can't put my best foot forward at this point, because I'm struggling to get that footing myself. So this could definitely be somebody that's like watching you on social media, admiring you. If they're following you on social media, subscribed on social media, they're definitely liking the things that you post. They may comment a little something here and there. Or for a lot of you, it's just kind of like secret, just watching, just admiring, just like, okay, there will come a time in the not too distant future in my life when I will be ready to put myself back out there. And if the winds of fate see fit to blow me in your direction and there's possibilities between us, then yeah, I'm taking that step forward. For others of you, this is somebody that, is a little closer to home in your environments. This could be a coworker. This could be somebody, that you see at the gym. This could be somebody that is like in your community. A neighbor is coming through for some people. So this could even be somebody that, like, if you live in an apartment complex, this person might have recently moved in because they are going through a divorce. They are no longer living in the house that they had with someone else. They're on their own for the first time in a while. And so they may be getting used to like, okay, bachelorhood. Okay, I'm coming home to an empty house every day. Okay, it's kind of like the things are the way I want them to be, and I'm not having to compromise with others. Like they're getting used to that. They're trying to find like their energetic center again, and it's like they've noticed you, they've caught sight of you, and it's something where you may not be aware of this person, they may not have approached, but it's definitely like this is somebody that is, they have a very safe energy, but it feels like it's almost just, I need to keep myself at a distance for the protection of what might possibly be possible between the two of us in a little bit further down the road, because I'm trying to get my life together at this point in time, or move beyond like a difficult chapter. But they see you as somebody like, okay, when I'm ready to get back out there and date again, or when I feel a little more confident, or the dust has settled a little bit more from whatever I've walked away from, you're that first person that I want to put myself out there towards. Yeah, we also have fulfillment. So they find you very physically attractive, very juicy, very delicious. This is somebody, it feels like, that also is kind of imagining like a juicy romance between the two of you. Something where this person, if they were in a connection, like a marriage or a long-term commitment, like they were in that for a while. It has been a while since this person was single. And interestingly, this will apply for some people. It's almost like a roommate situation was kind of the long-term relationship or the marriage that they came out of. So this is somebody that like hasn't even had romance with anyone in a very long time. Like they were in a long-term connection, but it feels like that got really cold and stale for like a while ago, and they just sort of stayed within something. Maybe they stayed for the kids, or there could have been some codependency going on. There could have been finances that were entangled, just any number of reasons, holding out hope that they could work things out until it was impossible to ignore that just wasn't possible. It'll be different reasons for everyone, but there's a sense of kind of like the idea of what might happen in the future between you and them. It's kind of like it's worth the wait. This is somebody that is like, I have been in like a drought or like an absence of sweet romance with anyone in a while. And so if this is something that's meant to be between the two of us, I want to make sure that I'm in a good headspace, that I'm in a good emotional space. The seed of potential is there. It's been planted. You exist and I have caught sight of you. And so this has stimulated something within me. And this is somebody that's like in a growing phase or in a growing season within their own life at this point. And so there's a sense of kind of like, if this is to be, plucked off of this tree, if we are to savor this, if there's really something that is, to happen between us or that can be here, then this potential will endure this period of time where I need to just take care of me. I need to get my life back in order. I need to kind of get into a better emotional space. I need to get into a better head space, because this is something that they're definitely thinking like juicy thoughts, kind of like adult thoughts about you, spicy thoughts. But there's also the sense of like, they're not just looking at you like, okay, this is the first fling that I'm going to have, now that I'm free from this other connection. Or if this had nothing to do with romance, if just their life got turned upside down, or they made a choice to like, pick up and move in an entirely different direction with their life, switch their narrative arc completely. There's a sense of like, I need to get settled into this new reality. Everything is different. This isn't just somebody that would have taken a promotion, at an office like across the country. This would be somebody that is in like a whole new line of work. They've stepped out of their comfort zone. They may have even been fired or laid off, and it's required them to, kind of like to find something else. It's in a totally different professional arena than they were in before. So there's a lot of like, they're trying to get into the swing of things. They're trying to acclimate to whatever this new normal is for them. They're trying to get their bearings, and they have also got their sights set on you. Like, okay, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to like feed too much emotional energy into this. I'm going to indulge in my fantasies and like my adult thoughts and my spicy thoughts, but I'm not going to sort of like, get into the energy of obsession or like overly fixated. So this isn't that kind of secret admirer. This is somebody that's like, oh, this will be so nice if I get to the place where, I'm settled in, or, things are kind of all said and done as far as, like a divorce is concerned, or if this person, if all that's complete and they're kind of just like, I've only just been on my own for a month or for a couple of months, I think I need a little more time, like back in my own energy. I need to be single for a period of time before I start exploring matters of the heart. There's a sense of kind of like a little prayer that they have said at this point, like, if this is something that is meant to be explored between us, then you'll be available, you'll be single when the time is right for me. And in the meantime, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to admire you from afar. Yeah, we also have thriving. So this is something where this person, as much as they may be in kind of like an experience of picking up the wreckage of their life, this is something where they have stepped into, or they've been forced into an experience to grow outside of their comfort zone. There may be multiple areas of their life, almost like a domino effect, things just all toppled over. This is somebody that may have had to like start from scratch, start from square one, or they've been brave enough to set off in a new direction. So there's a sense that they got a lot on their plate at this point in time, that you are somebody that has definitely like caught their attention. You fascinate them. They can see this being something that, like, even though they've set sort of like a prohibition for themselves, I'm not ready to do anything, I'm not ready to reach out, I just need to kind of sit here and look for a little bit. This is something where there's a part of them that is like, I know I can't just sit on the sidelines forever. I know that this is something that, the attention that you have garnered from them, the interest that you have sparked. There's a sense of like, as soon as possible, I want to move forward in this direction. You may be even motivating or incentivizing this person, to kind of be very proactive with things that they can control or could contribute to in order to create that place of readiness within themselves to get all settled into this new reality that they have chosen for themselves or that they've been thrust into, so that they don't miss the opportunity with you. It feels like this person, they're not really sure if you're single or not as well. So that could also be something where it's like, I need to just hang back. I can't get too emotionally invested because, if I sort of indulge in too much of the fantasy and fairy tale and it turns out, you're in another connection or you're not looking to date, this is somebody that's almost like, I don't want to put myself through unnecessary disappointment and heartbreak. But at the same point in time, they're like, I'm going to have to get back out there at some point, and, rejection's just part of the game. So you never know unless you try. Yeah, we also have purification. So it feels like this person is, again, wanting to come forth with like a clear energy, a clean energy, something where they're not wanting to like approach you and say, hi, nice to meet you. My ex-wife just kicked me out the other day and I just moved in. So do you want to go out to dinner? Like that's not the energy that they want to kind of, come forward towards you with. So this is somebody that has enough common sense to kind of just like hang back a little bit. Like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Let me get my ducks in a row a little bit. Let me kind of just surge through this sort of cry of freedom that has happened now that I am no longer in the life that I was living. I'm no longer in the circumstances that once kept me or that I chose to keep myself within. And while this person is going through the process of kind of, shedding the tears that they need to, feeling the feelings that they need to, moving through kind of the experience of having stepped down into the unknown, a very different experience from what has been the status quo or like their normal everyday reality for a while. In the midst of all of this, it's like you keep catching their attention. They keep looking towards you. It's like, okay, I'm trying to busy myself with what's in front of me, what I need to do, what I need to take care of. But I also have an eye on you, is kind of like on the other side of establishing myself within this new version of my own reality. You're somebody that I'm like, okay, when I'm ready to open my heart, I'm ready to, explore things romantically. This is the direction that I want to move in. Yeah, and we have inner peace. So again, this person is trying to find their balance, trying to find their equilibrium, trying to move through an experience of like disappointment in some way. Either it was a very like messy circumstance they just came out of, and so there's a sense that they're having to kind of just acclimate to the reality that they were brave enough to free themselves, or maybe this is something that wasn't even of their choosing, and so they're having to kind of come to grips with things that happened, maybe things that were sprung on them very unexpectedly, that have kind of tossed them around emotionally. And so again, there's a sense of that this person, they have good intentions, they're a good person. So this is not somebody that's like, I'm just going to replace one individual with another. I'm going to move out of the chaos of my past directly into something new with another person. This individual, knows they need to kind of find themselves again. They need to kind of be at peace or create peace or closure with whatever they have just moved away from, in order to really usher in a new beginning that is different from whatever the brokenness is that they have just exited. This can also be somebody that, if it wasn't like, a failed connection or a failed marriage, this could be somebody that has just, taken a huge leap of faith, to, try something different, switch careers entirely. This could be somebody that was like used to working for other people in just a very kind of mundane and typical career, and this is somebody that's like, okay, I've invested all my savings in a creative project, I've cashed in the 401k, I'm pouring all of myself into this kind of business that I want to get off the ground, or this new venture, something that is like a passion project, something that has been calling to me. And so they're almost sitting in right now in the midst of like the thrill and the exhilaration that they answered that call, that they took those steps on their own, of their own volition, in a new direction. And so there's a sense of almost like sweet victory with that. Like they're very proud of themselves, or they're trying to reach a place where they can be proud of themselves again, if it was like a difficult thing that they moved away from. But in the midst of all of that, it's kind of like, I would like to align with you, but I want to bring peace to you. I don't want to bring the baggage or the chaos of whatever I have going on in my life right now. But you're definitely somebody that when I see you, when I look at you, when I think about you, when I'm on your, social media, I see the things that you post, I listen to the things that you post. I have these glimpses, or kind of these sporadic encounters with you. It fills me with a sense of like, yeah, you're somebody I want to gravitate towards when I'm in a better headspace, when I'm in a better emotional space, when the time feels right or is right for me. So again, this is not somebody that is going to be like rushing forth towards you. This is not somebody, that you can expect to like reach out tomorrow. But, the wheels are turning as far as this person here that just finds you to be very delightful, very pleasing to the eye. And with whatever else they've kind of like seen or come to understand about you, there's just a sense of like, yeah, you're the direction that I would like to move in. You're the vibe that I am trying to, sort of call into my reality or cultivate within myself, so that we can match each other on that frequency. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.